Good, thank you.
What was kind of the evaluation after the changes did you make?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously always emphasizing technique and fundamentals of our protections, keeping our pad level down, making sure that we're staying connected in our protection, forcing the ball to get higher, quicker, a little bit of everything, not just one thing. Just making sure we detail it up day in, day out.
I know you guys were kind of equalized last week with the 30 plus block, but did you notice an improvement in that?
Definitely look at they were coming, they were good rush unit, they were good field goal blocking at Indy, and made an emphasis on keeping our pads down and being at the line of scrimmage and holding at the line of scrimmage. And credit to our guys. I mean, we got the right people here. We really do. We got the right kind of players, the right kind of guys that want to fix it. They don't want to do wrong, and for them to come in and self-correct and make those changes and make it important. And obviously, Sean last week emphasizing it to the team, and all those things are key and critical to moving forward in a positive way.
You guys have certainly approached kickoffs different. Is that by the rule change or by analytics?
Yeah, I think it was a combination. I think when you move the touchback from the 35 to the 30, that 5 yards of field position in the average drive start last year was like the 29.6 or something on a return, right around the 30-yard line. And so you're saying that's a pretty equal variance between we're giving up a return versus kicking a touchback. Where move it to the 35, now you're saying 5-6 yards per kick. Do we want to be doing that? We're hoping to score a lot of points and kick off a bunch. We don't want to give 50 yards of 40 yards of field position every game. So just come with that approach, and like I've said before with Cardi, his emphasis on it, and the way we practiced a lot of different styles, and Ethan continues to do it too, and just working some different kicking techniques and trying to get the ball on the ground. And I think that's the number one thing when you look at from an analytical standpoint is the ball on the ground is like the hang time now. And so your kicking team gets a little bit of an advantage, because otherwise hang time doesn't matter at all anymore. It's actually probably a little bit easier for the return team to get under it and have a head of steam moving forward, as opposed to the lower liner kick, which you're seeing around the league. I bet the hang time's probably about a second lower, or just under a second lower than it was in years past, because you don't want those returners to have the running start. But just credit to Cardi and the way he's been able to get the ball on the ground and hit his different styles of kick and manipulate the returners and hit it where they're not, and certain things in that space. So been really pleased. Got a lot of work to do. It's still early in the year.
Is that a night and day difference? I mean, when he's kicking a field goal, get under it, seems like a golf shot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Doing a kickoff like that seems like a line drive wedge.
Yeah, and so I think one of the biggest keys, continuing to stay, the combination between those two, like you just said, they're completely different ball flights, contact points. But what we try to do is make the swing as familiar and similar as possible, as opposed to guys that come in at different angles and wrap around, or we change the swing style of the kicker. We're trying to move the ball to keep a similar approach, so that it doesn't change his leg strength or leg swing, or put added pressure or strain on muscle groups or things that could cause an injury and things of that nature. So kind of a twofold with that. But to his credit, like I said, he's just done an unbelievable job with it. It's early, got a long way to go. Last year. We've been doing it since the new kickoff rule. Just the way things kind of went last year, we just were letting it play out, and where the field position was on the return versus the touchback, never felt like it was paramount to try to steal a couple yards here and there, without with adhering to the risk of that. And so this year with the touchback being changed, I think that was a big part from a philosophy standpoint of the organization and how we saw it.
What was the trial and error process of figuring out how to approach that?
A long time, just working at it, and just continue to move where you set the ball up, where you put it on the hash, where you put it in where everything's at, and then what his leg swing looks like, as opposed to he could do it other ways, but not having some torque and different things on different muscle groups, and trying to replicate the same flight that we wanted without the added strain, without the stress. I mean, if you watch him, it looks pretty seamless. And then when you talk about, what are the growing pains with it, the short kicks, the touchbacks, trying to understand that we're okay with either at times. We don't want the short, or we're okay with the touchback every once in a while if it goes in the end zone untouched. That's part of doing business if you're hitting the ball where you want it. Kind of equate it to, I think Coach Kotwika did a great job equating it to golf with the guys of, you're on a par 3 and the green's the green, and if that's the landing zone, and if you hit a great ball and land on the landing zone, and wherever it goes after that, you're not trying to get it in the hole at that point, but wherever it goes after that point, if as long as it stays on the green, you're in good shape. And then if you hit it in the end zone on a touchback, on a regular 35-yard touchback, that's kind of like, being in the middle of the green, not near the pin, or maybe you're just off on the fringe, you're okay. You can get up and down for a par versus, where you get the water ball is the short or the OB. Kind of where's your area to miss?
What do you see that, Josh?
Utilize that strategy as well, but this team statistically has had better results with just in terms of starting field position. What do you attribute that success to?
A lot to do with the ball getting on the ground. I really do. I mean, obviously we've had a couple, 3 touchback minors or something like that over the year. Then we've gotten some balls on the ground that have bounced around. Also had, a couple that bounced right to a returner. And again, we got to be able to cover those and knock hands down and play violently and gang tackle and swarm. But I think the kicking style has a lot to do with it, to be quite honest. I mean, I wish I could say it was something really huge schematically we were doing and coming up and reinventing the wheel. But hitting a great kick to get on the ground and create hang time to allow our guys to get a head start, that's the biggest difference.
What do you see that in Josh behind the scenes that's let it grow into a style that you say you never really tried it until just a few months ago?
Yeah, I mean, you say you haven't tried that kick?
You say he's never really done the kickoffs that way.
Maybe, he hadn't done it for, whenever he said, that's when we started it. No, but I think just the confidence, like last year building up to it, like gave him the, when he was working on that and wasn't having success the same way early, and it became more of a spiral kick at certain times and just trusting and going back to it and knowing that we have his back if something doesn't go the way it's supposed to go down, and I think that confidence helps him. And then the guys, the way they're hunting right now, be able to go after the ball and attack and know how vital that field position is in these tight ball games. He's just a really good ball player, great mental mindset, and encouraged about where he's at right now.
Jake, from a coaching perspective, to be able to prepare to keep balls on the game day?
I honestly don't know if that's had much of an impact. I know it helps our equipment guys on game day not have to spend an hour and 15 minutes doing the K-balls, but honestly, our guys have done such a great job. Twan and his crew have done such a great job of preparing those in the years past that there's minimal difference of that. It is kind of nice, I guess, be able to kick the game ball on a Thursday for 3 punt reps and 3 field goal reps or whatever, just to get a feel for what the actual ball is itself. But again, they've done that for years and prepared so many that we get them in practice, they're almost the same. So I don't think it makes that big of a difference.
Chase, I know this is going back, but this is the first time we've had an opportunity to speak with you since the Philly game. So what's that like for you in the moment and in the immediate aftermath when those kind of kicks are blocked?
It's frustrating. It definitely is, because you know how much you work and how much the team pours out, and to let guys down at that point and feel like we're not part of a big victory, that hurts. You don't sleep for a couple of days, but then it's about what's the right thing to do, how do we respond, what are the corrections we need to make, whether it's techniques or personnel or ball lift or X, Y, and Z, you name it. Like, we just got to attack the problems, and that's kind of what our job as a coach is, always to identify and attack the problems. And I think sometimes it can be a learning lesson for you, and actually a good thing. If, sometimes when you win or things go your way, it might not be exactly what you want, and the process might not be right, but you could handle the process being right and the results not coming, because eventually they will if your process is right.